Morning, David Beckham.
Morning.
How are you?
Very good, and you?
Yeah, very good. Welcome to the Radio 1 Breakfast Show.
Thank you very much.
We've wanted you on this show for ages.
I know.
And I keep thinking this week.
I always said that I would come on, and
Uh-huh.
I've kept to my word.
Yep, 2 years later.
No,
not 2 years.
Gonna mention
just over a year. How's it been back in London? Are you settling to British life again?
It's great. Obviously I've not lived in London since I was actually 15. I moved to Manchester, then moved to Spain, then went to the US, and I'm back here now. But I'm excited to be in London again.
Have you missed the rain? Because we had Colin Farrell on the show the other week, and he was like, I know I've been in LA too long when I miss the British weather.
I actually do. I love the heat. I love the sun. But to be honest, I was so happy when I came back to London. We moved back in December, and I was actually so happy to see the clouds.
Have you been here a year now?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just moved.
No.
I think it's because you're everywhere.
Yeah.
You're quite busy.
I've been kind of busy over the last year. But no, we moved back in December, and I actually really miss the clouds. I miss the cold and miss the frost.
Maybe I should move into your LA house.
Maybe you should.
I could do that.
Ask Victoria.
Yeah, I'll ask Victoria. I've got a lovely one-bedroom house
There
you
you
can
go,
have, and you and those 18 kids, you'll squeeze in. Do you miss anything from LA? Is there anything that you miss from America?
We miss a lot from LA. We had such a great time over there. People really accepted us with open arms, and we'll always spend so much time back there. But obviously, we're English, so we're very proud of where we're from, and very happy to be back.
Well, anytime you need to revisit the house, I'll let you. There's a spare room for you there.
I love the beach. I must have, I miss the beach in LA.
Got Brighton Beach.
And riding my bike. I took my bike out here in London this week, and it's not the same.
Because you got one of them bikes
nice. You have to wrap up. Yeah, you have to wrap up a lot more here.
And
I didn't wrap up, so I was a little bit cold.
Yeah, getting off it in that pose. Yeah. Frost and frozen like that.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, we need to talk about your movie, Class of 92.
Yes.
What do you remember from watching this? Because I remember watching it and just seeing so much stuff that reminded me of my childhood. What was it like when you went to make this movie and be part of it? What great memories of 92 did it bring back?
I mean, we've got so many great memories from that era. Obviously, on the football side, being able to be at a club that we loved and supported throughout our young lives, and then to have the chance of being successful like we were with United, that was a special time. But obviously, to be in Manchester in the 90s, it was such a special time. Hacienda, Oasis, Stone Roses. It was such a great time, and to actually have grown up there was amazing. Yeah,
when you watch it back, you're like, Manchester's wicked. What am I doing down here?
I mean, come on, I'm from London. Yeah. To be in Manchester was unbelievable at the time. Obviously I was a young kid, so actually to be in Manchester as a London boy was my dream. Funnily enough, to actually be a Manchester United player was my dream. But I'm a London boy.
Was it not terrifying to go up there and leave your family, leave everything and go and live in Manchester on your own?
It was terrifying, but it's what I wanted. Yeah. I was driven to be a professional footballer, and I was driven to play for Manchester United, so I'd have done anything.
And was it only ever going to be Man United for you? What about if City had called?
Never.
Because my nephew, we're a big Man United household, the Grimshaws, and my nephew is getting people are saying, come and try out for City. My dad is not having any of it. My dad is like, nope.
I mean, my granddad was a season ticket holder for 50 years at Tottenham. My dad was always a Man United fan, so I kind of was pushed into being a Man United fan, but it's all I ever knew.
Yeah.
At Christmas, my granddad would buy me a Tottenham kit. My dad would buy me a United kit, but I was always a United fan, so that was never ever going to change. I had trials at Tottenham, I had trials at Arsenal. I played for Tottenham for a couple of years, but then as soon as Manchester United came calling, there was only one choice.
You're straight up there.
Yeah.
You're like, see you, London.
Yeah.
I'm off.
Yeah.
What do you think? We were talking earlier about the different kits. You see a whole range of kits in this film. Yeah. What do you think your favourite United kit was, and what do you think the worst one's been?
My favourite one has to have been the one that we won the Champions League.
Yeah.
It was kind of a real shiny material with a silvery, metallic-y kind of badge, and that was my favourite kit for United. The fact that obviously we won the treble in it helps as well.
That's pretty good. Have they ever done a kit where you're like, oh, I'm not wearing that? I remember the yellow-green one. With sharp
green
on.
One. I don't think I played in that one.
No,
because I was still really young.
That was rough, man.
So I didn't like that one. I wasn't also keen on the one where it tied at the top.
Yeah, I hate that, like Robin Hood style. Yeah, that's so
I never
dodgy.
liked that. But I must admit, the grey kit that we changed at half-time against Southampton, that wasn't one of my favourites.
Where do you have all the kits now? Do you have them at home? Do you have them in the house?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, are they like framed, or are they just sort of like in a cupboard somewhere?
I have some of them framed, but I have some of them in a cupboard as well.
Yeah. How was it doing it then? Because that picture's such a great picture, like you and all those iconic players. Now, that is like when my dad was trying to force me to like football. It's still not fully happened. But how was it when you were making this movie to go back and to speak to all those pals and reminisce about 92?
I mean, obviously, they've been seeing each other day in and day out for the last 20 years, more than that. Obviously, myself, I moved away from United at 27 years old, I think I was. But to go back together and to actually spend time like we did on the couple of days that we were up there, it was amazing, because it just goes back to exactly how it was at youth team level. You know, we're just mates. It goes back to being so normal, and it's exactly how you see it in the film.
Yeah. Did it bring back any because I felt like goosebumps watching it. I got proper goosebumps watching it. Did it when you were discussing it and when you were filming it? Did you get
I got
goosebumps
emotional.
and get emo?
I got really emotional throughout it. Obviously not in front of the lads, because they've killed me.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
No, I'm fine.
We're men.
I'm fine.
But I got emotional filming it. That was going over the times that we'd spent together and going over the success that we had, whether it was good or whether it was bad, talking about moments like in 1998 when I got sent off, and having the players that I had there, and I really got emotional for it.
Have you watched it and cried? Because I think you wouldn't cry in some films, but then once they had the music, you're like, oh God, I really don't want to cry.
Music takes it to a whole new level.
That's the next level of emotion.
Kind of an emotional wreck in movies.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I can't get through some movies without shedding a tear. I can't lie.
Aladdin. Oh. Armageddon, always. I just saw that Saving Mr. Banks with Emma Thompson and Colin Farrell in it, and I cried for like an hour afterwards.
I'm the same when I'm watching The Office or when I'm watching Friends.
Yeah, yeah. Or a really dramatic advert. It's like send you over the edge.
I just can't get through it.
It's the music. That's what it is. Is if I get a bit of violin, I'm like, oh.
Have I cried through this? I showed the boys the trailer the other day, and I kind of got choked up.
Yeah. I got choked up, and it's nothing even to do with me.
I know.
So I don't know how you deal with it.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Now that you've done this, and it's sort of looking back, and you're reminiscing about things, what do you think have been your sort of proudest or best footballing moments of your life?
Winning the Youth Cup, because United hadn't done it for a few years, and the fact that we'd come through with a very tough manager with Eric Harrison, and the fact that we was able to win the Youth Cup at Old Trafford in front of, I think we had 30,000 fans there that night. That was incredible. So that's definitely one of my proudest moments, to have won the treble and created history. Like we did. But I know we're talking about obviously the 92 era, but we wouldn't have been able to have that success that we had without, Gary Pallister, Steve Bruce, Peter Schmeichel, Roy Keane, Points, Mark Hughes, Eric Cantona. Without their guidance, there's no way we would have been the team and the players that we are, and the success that we had. I
think that you all being so good at football in this era kind of ruined football for me, because I took it for granted then. So I just thought it was always this good. Yeah. So when you were doing the halfway kick thing, the goal, I was like, well, because that's when I was probably 8? Yeah. 10, something like that. So I was like, oh, that's just what football's like. But now I watch it and it's not as good as this. So I think that's why my interest is not there, because you were too good. I mean, it was ruined a great sport, era. This team. The fact that we actually all came through at such a young age, the fact that the manager had the foresight to actually give us the chance and get rid of some of the big players that Manchester United had at the time and put us in, it was such a special time, and there's not many chances and many opportunities that players and youth team players get these days. Do you ever think when you were starting out, when you first moved to Manchester, that you were ever going to be this good and that you were ever going to be this successful? Was there ever a doubt, or were you determined, I'm going to be really good at football? There was a doubt every single day. Yeah. I obviously grew up in East End of London, and my dad was tough, and he never hardly told me when I did well
but he'd definitely tell me when I did bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the same when I moved to Manchester United. You know, I had Nobby Stiles, we had Eric Harrison, you know, we had Archie Knox, and then I had Sir Alex Ferguson. So, you know, you had to really work to actually get some recognition.
Some praise, yeah.
Some praise. And that's why we were so successful. So, you know, I wouldn't change any of that.
No.
Ever.
Looking back, is there anything that you would have ever done differently? Do you ever look back and think, oh, I wish I'd never done that, or I wish I'd done that differently? Or
no, there's not one thing that I look back throughout my career, and obviously it's been 22 years long, so that's a long time to have no regrets. But I do look back at things like '98 and think, I wish it had never happened, but I know now why it happened.
Probably learned from it.
I did. I definitely learned from things like that, and I think if I hadn't have come to terms with it, then I would regret it. But the fact that I've come to terms with it and understand it and understand why it actually happened, I had to go through that.
Yeah, of course. Well, good luck with the movie.
Thank you very much.
It was lovely to talk to you, and thanks for coming on the show as well.